What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in just 14 days, on September 15th, we could see a strike that shuts down the United States. And this would cause a complete collapse. And again, this is in just 14 days. Now, if you've been looking into any recent updates on what's going on, well, I'm going to fill you in on what's actually happening and why I personally am worried, because I did talk to 3 separate people, and each one of them said that a strike is likely to happen. Now, I have talked about this throughout the summer, and now that we are getting much closer and we're just 2 weeks away, I think it's about time I update you on what is actually happening. First, who is potentially going on strike? I'm going to answer that in today's video. Second thing, why are they going to go on strike? And third, why is this such a big deal? Well, let's get right down to it. And again, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But to answer the first question as to who is potentially going on strike, it is U.S. rail workers. Because on September 15th, U.S. rail workers can legally go on strike. As of right now, they cannot. And the reason for this is because back in, I believe, July, actually it was probably June. I think it was the beginning of June. The U.S. government and President Biden had to step in and create a kind of a mediation group. Okay, put together this separate commission to help negotiate between the rail companies and the workers. Well, in doing so, what happens is it made it illegal for workers to go on strike until after the cooling off period, which the cooling off period just so happens to end on September 15th. Again, in 14 days. Now, why are they in negotiations? Well, we see this with companies all the time. The simple answer is rail workers are actually being overworked. And they're being overworked by all these companies because during the past 2 years, when people were being locked in their homes, when businesses were being shut down, everybody was worried about testing positive. These rail companies, these shipping companies, they decided to lay off employees as they noticed their rates were dropping and shipments became less consistent. Now, these rates are starting to go back up and trucking is much less consistent, which means now more companies are coming back to rail. Just to give you an idea, rail companies, these shipping companies, they're not able to hire workers back for multiple reasons. But here's the problem. The problem is that these former rail workers, they've retired. Some have found new jobs over the past couple of years, and some just do not trust these companies anymore because of how easily they laid them off in the last time. So now these rail companies are trying to get back all these employees, but they can't because they do not want to come back. Now, here's the reason why this is such a big deal. This is such a massive deal because rail workers are tired of working an immense amount of hours of overtime in order to make up for the shortage of employees that they currently have. And not only are they not getting time to spend with their family and their loved ones and take a vacation and a much needed rest, they're also subjecting themselves to serious injury and safety concerns. So what we are seeing right now, and the reason that there's a potential strike, is because workers and train operators are pretty much standing their ground and saying that we need better wages and we need safer working conditions. Those are the 2 things. Now, I bring this up for one main reason. First off, it's coming just right around the corner in just 2 weeks. There's a very good chance on September 15th, on that date, rail workers are going to go on strike. According to a recent survey, it says that 96% of freight rail workers still want to strike as soon as they can under federal law. That is not a good sign. It's a horrible sign. Now, personally, I don't think a strike is going to last too long, but I do think it's going to happen. One of the reasons why 96% of freight rail workers say they want to strike as soon as possible, or as soon as they possibly can, is simple. They want some time off. They want a break. Now, I actually talked to a few community members about this over the past few days. Now, here's what they said, and they all pretty much said the same thing, is that they're kind of hoping a strike happens. Here's what one of them said. One said, and I quote, "If a strike happens, I plan on taking at least 2 to 3 weeks off to relax and take care of myself." Good. Take care of yourself. I would much rather somebody takes care of themselves, and we get these shipping companies and rail companies to come and hire more people to make sure people are not being overworked. Another one said, "I've made enough money over the past year that a months-long vacation sounds good to me." A months-long vacation sounds good to me as well. And then the last one said, and I quote, "Nobody wants to go on strike, but we have to get our demands met. These are not unreasonable. We need more time off, and we can't be expected to work 84 hours per week without any breaks at all. Honestly, a strike is needed, and I'm looking forward to it." Just to give you an idea, 84 hours per week, that's 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So let's say you start at 8 a.m. You don't get off. And so let's say you get a lunch, you get some breaks. You don't get off until 9:30, probably after 9 o'clock p.m. Then you go home, you wait, or wherever you're at, maybe you go to a hotel, who knows. Then you wake up the next morning, you go to bed, wake up the next morning, and by, let's say, 7 o'clock, you go back to work. What a life. What a life. You work 12 hours a day with no breaks. But think about this. If rail workers were to go on strike, there's a good chance that many won't want to come back until they're ready. Now, again, this could be a few days, like some of these people were saying. This could be, a couple weeks, maybe even a month. But while these rail companies are trying to negotiate this deal, again, we don't know how long this is going to take. Now, according to reports, there's a proposal on the table, but it doesn't mean that these rail workers are going to accept it. It doesn't mean that. Now, here's the real big reason why this is a major issue for everybody across the United States. Is when you factor in that 41% of all long distance freight is moved by rail, this means that our supply chain is going to take a massive hit. Massive. And when demand of a product stays the same, which it will, and supply drops, this means that it's only going to cause an increase in prices, which as of right now, nobody wants to see any more upward pressure on inflation. That's exactly what we will see. So again, we are potentially just 14 days away from a complete collapse of the US economy. Has nothing to do with housing, has nothing to do with the stock market, has nothing to do with crypto, has nothing really to do with the Federal Reserve either, but has everything to do with just one negotiation. So again, we're going to see what happens. I will be keeping a close eye on what's going on with this negotiation, and as always, I will keep you updated as we get more information. So again, that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.